everybody. I'm afraid it's just me. Well, me and the nameless lady. It's my new mannequin. She hasn't got a name as yet. Oops. My other one is called Lady Jane. I'm not sure whether Jane was the one who lost her head, you know, in sort of Henry VIII's time, but I know that she was one of his wives, so it's quite possible she did lose her head. The other one was called Anne Boleyn that I had before that I gave away, so I didn't want to use that name again. So this lady, she reminds me a little bit, maybe I'll call her Rebel. You know, after the lady who's in the films, the one who's a little bit on the fluffy side. If you want to know what I mean drinking, it's a cafe Americano, and I better put its lid on before I tip it upside down. We don't oh, see what I mean? We don't have a Starbucks near us here, so the only way I can do it is to buy it at the supermarket ice cold. So we don't have one anywhere near. Not that I'm addicted to Starbucks. Costa will do, or any other coffee. Look at me, I'm covered in coffee, and my lid's over there because I'm such a klutz, I've knocked it down. Anyway, what happened on Wednesday was Sue's son-in-law decided to fall off a wall, and he's broken his ankle and his leg, and in fact he was due in theatre today to have it all put back together again, and her daughter is having her operation next Wednesday. She's got a funny shaped kidney stone that won't pass, so she's having surgery. They're hoping they can just take the stone out, but if not, she might have to lose a kidney, which not very nice, is it? Anyway, Kelly sent me a message saying that the little boy's auntie was in hospital and she was going to go and bring her home again, and etc, etc. And then we kept sending her messages saying, "Where are you, Kelly?" and everything, and apparently she'd left her phone at the hospital, so she had to go back and get it. So by the time she'd been there and got the phone, she couldn't come because it would have been time for her to go back again to get the children from school. So unfortunately, Wednesday was a no-go. Christina did come, and I'll show you what Christina and I did, although we didn't film it because we were, well, Christina and I didn't do it. Christina did it, not me. I just supervised, you know, as I want to do. Because I'd hoovered, or vacuumed, whatever you want to call it, the stairs the day before, and it was really a mess because it hadn't been really truly. Now I know I've got the little vacuum cleaner, but that's okay once it's been really deep cleaned, if you know what I mean. It'll be okay to keep it on top of it. Now it's been done, but I had to hand brush it all down and hoover it with the big hoover because that's got the good suction. And of course my back hurt like the dickens because my injection unfortunately is wearing off a bit. I'm still not on the painkillers, only occasional ones, so I'm doing very well. Anyway, let's talk about the big elephant in the room. Let me have a drink first. Oh, that is strong. Cafe Americano, and that is so strong. Right, I decided against using my other mannequin and trying to devise some kind of a jacket that I could put on and off to make her bigger. Because a lot of my ladies, and me, are fluffier. So I ordered, which was a size 20-22, which when it arrived was more like a 16-18 UK. Which is, I don't know what size it is in the US, probably smaller than that. Anyway, we had, well, I padded the boobies out. sorry about the discoloured look, but this was one of my sports bras that wound up, I don't know if you can see her or not, that wound up in the washing machine with something with colour. So of course it went a dirty colour. So Christina has made her fatter, fluffier I should say, we don't use the fat word, do we, by putting all this bubble wrap on her. And I padded out her bazooms, if you'd like to say. So she's now looking a little bit more like a fluffy lady, yeah. What came today, I should say, that's very bad grammar, is a black, sorry for the rustling, I should have taken it out of the wrapper, is a black long sleeve t-shirt, because I didn't have a long sleeve one to sacrifice, if you know what I mean. So we're going to turn her into, we're going to cover all these gubbins up with a black t-shirt, and we're going to stuff the arms and sew them up at the bottom, gather them up at the bottom, so she can have sleeves, she can have arms, she can have armies. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. She's not finished yet. The cardigan that we can't decide, it's still not been locked. Oops, excuse me. This is why I needed a bigger. Oh, come here, lady, whatever your name is. Oh, look, she is a rebel, isn't she? I think we will call her a rebel. This is why I wanted a bigger size. You have to excuse me, I've not put it on very well because I don't want to get up again. This is why I wanted a bigger. So you have to excuse the bands going up a bit because they've not been blocked. To make this look, you know, if I put it on a smaller mannequin, it just looks awful. It, you know, swamps the mannequin, yeah. So she's not quite finished yet. But what I'm actually really, really happy about is, you know, the struggle with the buttons. Well, one lot of buttons came. My grammar is dreadful today. What's wrong with me? And I thought, well, they'll do it a pinch, but they were too brown. This cardigan is a strange colour. It's James C. Brett, and they don't have names, they just have MC24 it was. It looks grey in some lights, and in other lights it's got, this bit here is quite brown. I know it looks grey actually on the video because I've looked at it, but it is actually, it's got shades of beige in it. They're beige and they're brown really when you look at them, but yet it gives an overall impression of being grey. We tried grey buttons on it, they weren't right. We tried brown buttons on it, they weren't right. Anyway, I ordered these buttons and I think these are going to be the ones. They're a little bit lighter, but at least they're not yellow and they're not grey. They're kind of stone colour. That's what they were advertised as, stone colour. So I'm going to go with these. I think they look okay. So that's what it is. Anyway, yesterday I finally got to go for my chest x-ray. Thanks very much to Christina, because she knew I was procrastinating about going down. And I kept saying, oh, I'll go tomorrow. And I'll go tomorrow. And it was lucky I did actually, because there was a date kind of on the little ticket that the doctor gave me, which I was to hand to the radiographer. So if I'd have left it any longer, it would have run out and I would have had to go back to the GP to get another one. Anyway, Christina said, right, get yourself ready in the morning, I'm coming for you. So she did. I said, you don't need to stay. If you just take me there, I'll get myself back again, because I didn't know how long it was going to be. Anyway, surprisingly enough, I was kind of in and just got me crocheting out, and she shouted my name and I thought, oh right. So they put you in this beautiful white shapeless gown, you know, that hasn't seen fashion. Anyway, I just got me crocheting out again and she calls my name again and I thought, oh, this is quick. So it was like, stand there, put your arms here, bloop. And then it was just move this way, move that way, bloop. Right, you're done now, get dressed. So I thought, oh, blimey, I was in and out so fast, it was just like unbelievable. Anyway, sorry about that. I decided when I got home to finish off my hospital shawl, which is the virus shawl. Oops, it's not got the end sewn as you can see. And I couldn't finish it off where it was supposed to be finished off, so I just put an edging on it. It's one of those out of my head edgings. It's Boho Signet Sprite, the yarn, which is rather pretty. Oops. See if she'll model it for us, which I don't think she will. But as you can see, it's not been blocked. I've only just finished it off. So it's very, very frilly and not very big. Oh, she's not going to wear it. She is a rebel. She's going to have a name, Rebel. Right, there she is. I've got the label for the yarn, excuse me, getting up. I find it very difficult to get off this sofa. It's shade 770. Who's that? 94034. Glasses. These are the glasses that keep breaking. I actually had to buy a set of little miniature screwdrivers to get the arm back on again. Right, it's 77034 and it's Signet Boho Spirit is the yarn. It's 100% premium acrylic and it's a 30-degree wash. It doesn't say hand wash, but I would hand wash it anyway because of it being, you know, shawl. So that was another thing I finished. Then I finally went back to, where have I put it? Oh, it's here. To Ephraim Sweater, which I'd stopped. I got a couple of orders in and I just stopped. So I'd done the front, but when I came to do the back, I decided that the front I'd forgotten to allow for the fact it's got quite a deep edging on it, so it would have been too long. So I stopped the back one pattern shorter. He's taller than me, by the way. So that meant that I had to undo the front bit and start the front bits again. It's lost the label. It's is it a bamboo? I think it is, or something. I'll show you the wall again. So I'm doing the front all over again and taking off. I took off one pattern across because it was too long, so I'm almost to the shoulder. So then I've got to do 2 sleeves, but as I say, I'd stopped to do it, and I may stop again before I do the 2 sleeves, in the fact that I've got another order which I need to complete in between time. Anyway, I'll show you what I got that I didn't have time to show you the time before, which was the My Boshi book, which I said I'd done a hat out of it. It's supposed to be 2 young men who decided to start making hats because they do snowboarding or whatever boarding they do anyway. So they made a little bit of a business of it, making these hats for snowboarders, whatever you want to call it. I can't get the My Boshi wool over here, but I get it from Purple Linda, but it's not expensive for myself or for any of my family, but it would be a bit expensive if it took like 2 or 3 balls to do a hat. I couldn't sell it, you know what I'm saying? Couldn't sell it. It appears to be kind of lofty chunky, if you know what I mean by lofty, like thicker, fluffier, lightweight type chunky. Because I did the set, I think I showed it you last time, and I had to adjust my pattern because it was coming out a little bit small. These are kind of, I hope you can see, because I can never see whether I'm shining, the light shining on them or not. Need to get a mirror. So those are kind of all the different styles that they do in the book. That's the ladies version, Tailor. That's the guys version, which is like slouchy. That's called Nimuro. No, Nimuro. This one I quite like. It looks very manly, doesn't it, for a headband with having the stripes. I'm going to make a few of those. Yeah. I mean, they're unisex. It depends what colour you make them, doesn't it, really? That's the one I did do, which was the Beppu. But I had to alter it because my yarn was finer, so I had to put more rows in. In actual fact, it's a little bit long, but bear in mind I have a tiny head. So what comes down here on me probably doesn't with anybody who's got a decent amount of hair. This one I do love. It's called the Leader or the Lidder. It's like a kind of a ribbed one. It's L-I-D-A. Not sure how you would pronounce it. And that one is the Kanuma. That's sort of one, a beanie with a brim. It's K-A-N-U-M-A, Kanuma. I mean, they're shown mostly on guys, but you know, they really are. I've got a piece of hair sticking in me. But they really are unisex, really. Oh, that one's shown on a lady. That's the Ome. O-M-E, Ome. Again, that would be great for using up my bits of chunky. I always make hats for my family for Christmas. It's kind of a tradition because my younger niece seems to lose them everywhere she goes. And that's the Osaka +1. I don't know what the Osaka +2 is unless it's on the next page. Oh, no, just showing a different colour. That's the Osaka +1 again. I hope you can see everything because it's rather dark because I waited until Gigi had gone home. And that's a Niseko. As you can see, they're all basically the similar kind of a hat. I think they just maybe vary with the stitches that's being used and they vary with the colours that's being used. And this one's got a little bit of a brim at the front, but it's not really what you would call a bill or a, as my son used to call them, a beak. It's called a saitama. It's just got a tiny little sort of bit of a brim. I was reading somewhere a little bit about them and they were saying that the saitama is one of the most popular ones they do, but little old ladies tend to wear them back to front, so they've got the longer bit covering the neck. And that's the Tokyo. It's got a longer brim. You can hear anything ticking, by the way. I've decided that I would set the timer, so that's what's ticking. It sounds like a rather loud clock. This one's the Kobe. This is the like a typical snowboarder hat, isn't it, with the ears? And this one is the Otaru with a stripe in the middle. I don't know whether I'm keen on that one. I would imagine it might be a little more tricky to do because you don't want to strand across. You don't want to strand across the yellow, so you just kind of have to have. Well, I don't know how you would do it because I don't know. I don't think I'll be doing that one anyway. We're getting near the end, don't I? That's a reversible one. It looks like it's mesh, but it's actually got 2 layers, so you can turn it inside out. I presume you use 2 different colours because you can just see a bit of another colour poking through. Maybe it's is the inside. I'm just trying to read if the inside's done plain or no, the inside is still, it's still mesh. Or is it? No, it's... No, I don't know. I'll let you know when I've made it. And that's called Okinawa. These always remind me of rugby players, I don't know why. You know, those ear protectors that they wear. I mean, our rugby players in the UK are quite hard, they don't wear helmets or anything like that. So I think that's it really for that book. That's My Boshi. And it's by Thomas, oh gosh, I can't even pronounce their names. I hope you can read them, they're down there. It's called My Boshi. I'm sure you'd find it without knowing their names. This one, I think I told you briefly about it. It's called My Crochet Dress Up by Emma Friedland Collins. I bought it thinking it was going to be really fanciful, but it's actually not. They're kind of dressy up hats, but not, you know, not quite dressy up enough, if you know what I mean. Like that's supposed to be a rabbit, I think, with the little tail at the back. I think Joe might like that, Pete the Pirate. But I don't think we'd do the, we'd get him a cutlass because he'd probably be very, very dangerous over Christmas, because that's when I will see him. Because my younger niece's children, they're living in London. So I don't see them that often. But I think he might like the little, can you see the little parrot on his shoulder? I'm sure she wouldn't think that that was a going out hat. This one's Little Mermaid, but my great niece is not really old enough to be in any of these. She kind of doesn't know what Frozen is or anything like that. She's a little bit young. That's the tail bit that goes with it. I can't really see her wearing anything like that myself. It's got a little crab, which I suppose you could make separately. This one's the superhero. It's got armbands and a hat and sort of like a half of a vest. I'm sure it would be better if it had a proper vest that went a bit lower down than that, but I mean, it's quite a nice little sort of helmet with the wristlets. So I'm not keen on the half a helmet. This one is the Snow Queen. This one's Robin Hood, which again I think would be a little bit dangerous. Christmas time, somebody firing little bows and arrows all over the place, so that maybe again is a no-no. Again, I don't know how my great niece would feel about wearing wings. Oh, the other new baby in the family is being born, I think, next week. Because she's being very stubborn and she's upside down. So Mum has to go in and have a cesarean. So we kind of know when she's being born. Little Red Riding Hood. Again, I don't know whether my niece would think that she was supposed to be wearing that out in the street, you know. Whether she'd think I'd made her a cape. It was a bit weird. That's the Pussycat Hat. You'd have to be careful you got that right, wouldn't you? Otherwise the child would be walking into walls if the thing came down over his eyes. You'd have to make sure you had the right sizing. That's the Magic Unicorn. I doubt very much I'd actually going to make anything out of this book. And that one's called Vigo the Viking, but I've actually got a much, much nicer pattern for a little boy's Viking hat that's much nicer than that. And that's Rapunzel. Let down your hair. Wicked Witch, if you want your child going around at Halloween, dressed as witch. Complete with a spider. And that's the Wily Wizard. Now I know that my niece wouldn't think I was making him that to go out in the street in. And that's the rabbit again, the grey rabbit again. Do you know, it's suddenly gone really warm in here. I was cold before and I went really chilly and I had to put the heating on just for a few minutes. And now I'm absolutely boiling. Right, what else did I get? That's the inside crochet, is it? Oh gosh, they print the edition what it is. It's not even a millimetre high. It's issue 93. And the sweater on the front cover is actually done in Tunisian. As you can tell by the way it's curling up at the bottom. If I was to make that, I'd have to put a row, you know, single crochet around the edge of it because I don't like things that curl up. Right, let's have a look. Let's start at the very beginning. It sounded like do-re-mi, didn't it? This one's called Back to School. It's a little tiny bolero, which if anybody's child had a uniform, they wouldn't be able to wear that one. That's the scarf that looks sort of very Harry Potterish to me. Not that I'm a Harry Potter fan. And that's the shawl. Oh, those are crochet flowers, and that's the Tunisian sweater. I'm not keen on the red sweater, but I do like the bright yellow hat. Looks nice and chunky with a big pom-pom on the top. I'm going to be into making more accessories, I think, Ted, for Etsy. I'm trying to persuade Sue to make some more. That's supposed to be a mystery shawl. It's either done in gradient or you work your own gradients out, I'm not quite sure. It's in batik. No, it's done in separate colours, you make your own up. That's a cover. I'm not very keen on covering things like coffee pots and that because they always dribble, don't they, coffee pots, and then you get them all stained up. Right, what we got here? Oh, Little Girl's Ballad crossover. And that's a pencil case at the bottom and just some headband bows at the top. And for those who like amigurumi, we've got a, not sure it's supposed to be a monkey or an imp. Supposed to be a sloth or a sleuth, whichever way you pronounce it. Looks like a little imp to me. As I said before, I'm just so not into making things like that. MySpace. Stephanie Lau, the crochet designer who is all about amis. So obviously she makes amigurumis. I'm always very envious when I see the craft spaces all neat, and if you could see my craft space at the moment, it looks like I've thrown a load of balls in the air. Oh, that's the back view of the bolero-y thingy. It's not exactly what you might call a... Oh, and if you're in the the UK Yarndale, which is up at, I think it's in Skipton in North Yorkshire, 23rd and 24th of September, Yarndale. If you're in the UK and you're anywhere near Skipton, which I think is in Yorkshire. These are just the patterns for everything I've shown you. Nothing new there. Those yarn and colours. Don't even know whose yarn that's supposed to be. Pretty colours, but don't know what it's supposed to be an advert for. Oh, I love it, you know, when they have an errata, like about 2 months later. When you've probably already started that and found out there was an errata. It seems like you can't start anything when you see it first of all. You have to wait and see if there's any erratas. This is Stylecraft's new crochet collection, obviously in bright colours. They're not in this book, they're just an advert for the colours. Quite bright, sort of ice cream type colours. I do like Stylecraft, as do quite a lot of other people. I'm not on my own with that one. And that's the ballet cardigan shown flat, not on the child. You know, I'm getting quite hungry and I've had my dinner. Well, this is what's in next month. That looks quite interesting, doesn't it? I wouldn't make it for anybody to sell, but it's quite interesting, isn't it? Like a sampler. I'd make it for a present, but I don't think my nieces would wear it. And these are bobber booties. You know, like bobber boots? Bobber booties. And I think that's it. That's the hat pattern. Pom-pom beanie. Yep, that's about it for that one. The other one I got is Scarves to Crochet. I think I briefly showed you this one. I love the colours of the scarf on the front cover. Sorry if it's shining, I hope you can see it. But I wouldn't put all those flowers on it. I think that's a bit of overkill. I've got the backlight on because it's so dark in here. So unfortunately it's probably going to shine. That's another picture of the same scarf. But I do like the side to side effect, and I do like the colours that they've used. Sue did as well. These are just, it's hard to show these without showing any of the patterns actually. That's just like a black and white sort of tweedy scarf. And these others, they're just plain scarves really, you know. Plain scarves. And that's what everybody was doing a couple of years back, wasn't they? Everybody was doing these, what have you got, loopy things. And that again is just a very, very plain scarf. I bought the pattern actually for the one on the front cover, which I thought was rather nice. That one is done side to side in kind of like a fan stitch or a shell stitch, whatever you want to call it. And that's another one that's woven. A bit like the, you know, the tartan ones I showed you in the last magazine. This one's Aqua Fresh and Lacy Heirloom. That's Aqua Fresh. And that's Lacy Heirloom. And then we've got a ripple effect, which again I'm trying hard to cover up everything. And this one's a spoke motif. I won't be doing that because it's the dreaded circles. I would not want to do a million circles to make a scarf. That one's quite a nice stitch. It's, what's it called? Oh, Sea Breeze. It's up at the top, can't read. Got Sea Breeze. And this one is actually in another book of mine. That one, it's actually in a Vogue book I've got of scarves to go or something. It's in that one. So I've got that one twice. Spring flowers. Somehow I'm not mad about motifs on the scarf. Not mad about them. That one is, you're not going to be able to see that because it's a very small picture, it's cables. Very narrow scarf cables. And this one is pretty, but it's kind of like a bobbled stitch, which would take forever to do. It's very nice. That's the sort of thing I would make for a present. This one's sort of a kind of a weirdy stripy one. And this one's just a narrow scarf. It says the wave pattern. And again, that's another one I wouldn't do. That's a motif scarf. Oh, of course, even more, isn't there? The spike stitch scarf. And then this one says it's a fun faux fur. I think. No, it's not the end. It goes on and on this book, doesn't it? This one's a nice one. It's called Timely Twists. It's sort of like a little bit cable-ish. And then this one's another sort of weird one. It looks like it's got tentacles growing out the end of it. We must be getting near the end now. No, we're not. Well, that's a nice one, isn't it? It's sort of black and white tweed. And then this is another one done in the dreaded circles, which is coral leaf. This book goes on and on. Right, we are on the last one now. This one's called Holding Hands Scarf. It's like, you know, the paper chains of little dolls that you cut out. Can you see it or not? If you turn it on its side, you see them? Do you remember when you used to make dolls out of paper and you used to cut them all out in one long strip? That's what that one looks like. No, it's not the end. We've got one more, which is called Mohair Ripple. And I do like books like that where they've got a whole blank page saying my notes, because that's quite interesting, isn't it? So all in all, it's called Crochet Simple Scarves to Crochet. Scarves for Everyone. I don't know who's printed it. It's not, usually they're printed like by Annie's or by somebody, aren't they? This one doesn't say anything. Solo Publishing Company. They must all be by different people. I don't think anybody's got you know, a credit for who the scarves belong to. It's just called that. I only bought it recently, so it's quite a new one. Or new to me one. And the other book I've got is Miguel Barclay's £1 Meals. That's of course if you're living in the UK. And it's meals for one person. Some of them are a little bit far-fetched for me, but some of them I would make, yeah. You know me and my hatred of cooking. You know, there's some nice ones that I would make, although I do challenge him where he says it's £1. You know, chicken stew and dumplings for £1. I really can't see that happening. But I suppose it means if you've got the ingredients in, because like a lot of them it says like half of a tin of tomatoes or half of a, you know, like if it's lasagna or something you just need two pieces of it, or 2 bits of bacon and 2 bits of this. You know, I suppose you'd have to really make yourself a shopping list and try to marry up meals that went together, if you know what I'm saying. Because there's a couple of meals that have got aubergine in them and you don't use the whole aubergine. So I suppose if you sort of planned out your meal, you could you know, do that sort of thing. Do some pizzas. which is make your own pizza, which is not something that never gonna happen. Ain't never gonna happen. Same with pies, you know, unless it's bought pastry, it ain't never gonna happen in this house. I mean, like crab mac and cheese, which is very nice, but it just says 1 tablespoon of tin crab. I mean, tin crab is quite expensive, you know. So unless you were going to have crab mac and cheese every day for a week, you'd be using, if you use a tablespoon of crab, you'd probably get maybe 2 tablespoons out of a little tin. But they're dear. I don't know how he gets it for £1. They're expensive tins of crab. Perhaps he means, like, you know, you'd half. They even sell the tins of crab at more than £1. More than £2, I mean. I think. But they are in my shop anyway. But it's quite a new book, I think, so. He's called Miguel Barclay, £1 Meals, and it's meant for one person. So if you live on your own, and you like cooking, unlike me, I don't like cooking at all. How many minutes have I used up? Oh, not used that many, I don't think. I can't work out how many minutes I've used. What's the point of setting a timer if you don't understand it? So I'm probably going to disappear. With news to the Manchester meetup, it is happening. It's happening on the November the 4th, November the 5th. And Zoe 24 Carat Crochet is kind of in charge. You can't have too many people in charge, can you? You know, you've got to have one person who's coordinating everything, otherwise it just goes all over the place. We've got another lady called Fatima that's joined, and she's doing a little bit of research for us into which cafes would support us to sit there, you know, with a cup of coffee in our hands and do some crocheting. We've got a couple of places that will, you know. So we've kind of got an itinerary for one of the days. And we're hoping to visit her dye studio, which is in Northern Quarter, but we have to book definitely for that and say how many people are going. And I presume maybe they would like us to buy something while we're in there. It would be interesting though for the people. I mean, like Kelly likes to dye her own yarn, so it would be interesting to people like Kelly. I've never really expressed an interest in dyeing my own yarn because I don't kind of use the expensive yarns because I would have to pass the price on. I mean, I do buy expensive yarn. I mean, I've got a very expensive skein of yarn that's supposed to be for socks, but it's far too nice. So I'm going to have to find sort of a nice lacy scarf or something to make with that. But by and large, I'm not really into the hand-dyed yarn. Oh, I do love it. Don't get me wrong, I do love it. Probably if I had more money to, you know, my assets, I would like it. But bear in mind, I can't wear wool anyway. And don't say alpaca and that because it still makes me itch. If it's got an animal fibre in it, it makes me itch. Merino, whatever you want to call it, llamas, you know, anything makes me itch. Sorry, but it does. And so it's a bit awkward for me really. And when you're paying £16 to £30 for a skein, it's something that I wouldn't really be giving away or trying to sell because it would just be, I've still got that hair across my eye. Trying to sell. You know, if I was to make a beautiful scarf or something like that, but I'd paid £30 for the yarn or £20 for the yarn, I don't think my Etsy people. Oh, I've got it now. Oh, there's my 45 minutes, so I better say goodbye. That made me jump. Yeah. Anyway, to get 4 people together is going to be very awkward, but I will try one more time. But Sue's going to be tied up all next week with the illnesses in her family, plus she's having radiators fitted, so there's holes in the floor and holes in the wall. Anyway, apart from that, I hope you're all having a good time, and I'll just say goodbye for now before I run out of time completely. So, bye all. Now I've got to get off the sofa. Watch this space.